Alright kids, welcome to another game in 3 minutes. Check it out. Your random queen pawn opening. Collie system. Pretty basic. It's threatening bishop takes f4, so we have to guard it. Best way, g3. Castle's good move. Knight gf3, that's the correct move. So, jump on e5. If he ever captures on e5, the plan is for white to capture with the f pawn. So, it's not the greatest move in town. So, he leaves the giant hole on the defense. It's 50-50. I almost took it. I almost played the Greco sacrifice, bishop h7 check, but I don't think it quite works because I haven't developed, I haven't castled. And that g-pawn blocks the rook from going rook f3 and rook h3, so I didn't take it. I also did not check with the computer to see if the computer saw it. Moreover, I should take it. But my spidey senses told me don't take the pawn this time. So I didn't. I castled. Now I'm going to go to town because I have good development and safe king. Threatening an evil little checkmate. If you don't see the checkmate, pause the video and come back. Well, thank you, and we're back. So, do you see the checkmate? Helpful hint: checkmate is not. Oh, actually, it is. I was thinking it was a different position, so my mistake. Yes, queen takes h7 is checkmate. But so will bishop takes h7, and then bishop to g6, followed by queen to h7. That would have checkmate as well. Which is this is a very useful pattern for the future. This pattern is very useful in the future. Bishop takes h7. King goes here. Bishop comes back to g6 check. It prevents him from going to f7. He goes back to their g8 and then queen to h7. In this case, it's mate. Now, if the rook is not there, check. He goes king to f8, and then you're going to clean some more clock with queen h8 and then queen takes g7. So it's all very good. f5, smartest move on the board. No question about it. But notice how he played f6 and I did not retreat that knight. I was able to make a counter threat that forced him to move that pawn again. And now, you know, he spent 2 moves to do what he could have done in 1, and I've done 1 move already, and I'm going to get another move now. So he really didn't do anything with f6. f6 was a nothing move. It just drew my queen to h5, and then he played f5. Awesome. So, you know, it's a minuscule gain for white. So knight 2 to f3. I own e5. Now he can force a pawn to sit there, but that's okay. If he wants to get rid of all of his developed pieces and then give me the space advantage of f takes e5, I will take the heck out of it. Smart move. Realistically, he should do the same thing of knight to e4, but this is the test of chess. Does he know it or not? The problem, yeah, I don't know, it's like whatever. You know, if he goes knight e4, I could play knight g5. Depending. I play knight g5 anyway. So, just, you know, kind of messing with him. Forcing weaknesses in his kingside position is what that did. It's not much, but hey, it's the best I could do. So now he's developed pretty well. You know, you can't argue with that. So, got to give him credit where credit is due. However, it did, like I said, that h6 did provoke a minor weakness that he did not cover. He should have covered it. How would you cover the weakness that h6 generated? Pause the video and check it out. And we're back. Tell them what they've won, Don Pardo. Okay, you won nothing. He should have played, in my opinion, King h7. You know, that would cover that weakness. Or he could have actually have played bishop to e8 is probably better. King h7, knight g5 is kind of annoying. You know, doesn't really do anything for either side. I check him, he goes back, you know, whatever. Then I have to go back. So King h7 is not a bad move at all. White should play knight g5 check. He goes back, and then white goes back, and then goes, well, now I will play bishop to e8. So king h7 is a good move because it tests white to see if if he really knows what to do. And if he doesn't, then he plays bishop to e8 or rook to h8. So king to h7 can be done with impunity. So, but bishop to e8 is probably the best move. So bishop to e8 would be better because that hole in g6 is an annoyance starting now. So this is what happens when you don't take the knight. Sometimes you take that knight, sometimes you don't. Well, after he moved h6 and made the hole, you know, he's paying the price for not guarding his hole. I'm in the Swiss cheese. He should have played bishop to e8 or take the knight, one of the two, whatever floats your boat. So now I'm in. He's got to move the rook. And here comes the other knight. You know, knight 3 to e5. There's no way he's going to sit there and let me have that knight there. There's just, you know, this is just devastatingly ugly. So he cannot take with the knight. Surely you guys see that. It's pretty basic. He cannot play knight on c6 takes e5. Bishop takes e5 is the correct move if you're going to take it. So I take it back. And he's like, okay, I told you. If he wants to give away all of his developed pieces and leave me with that permanent pawn on e5, hey, I'm good with that. Now, objectively, he should play knight to e4. He did not. This is one of those things where it's a game in 3 minutes, so maybe he's just had some bad luck or whatever, and he's not too confident, or he's afraid to play it. But really, knight to e4 is an awesome move, because if I take it, bishop takes e4 is dumb. He could just play f takes e4. I would not take it, but you know, if I took it, f takes e4, and man, that passed pawn is a protected passer. That's a nasty dude. So I don't want to deal with that jerk. So he should have gone knight to e4, and you have a game of it. So I had a time advantage, but that's all. Knight e4 would have been a much better move than knight h7. Knight h7, hey, I'm just going to attack you now. So g4, he takes it. Got to take it with the queen, because if I take his rook, he's just going to take my queen, and I'm an idiot. So he takes me check, blah, blah, blah. Check me again. I know you're going to do it. So, but he doesn't have anything here. And the problem is, not only does he not have anything, queen to d8 is a mistake. Let's go back. You have to ask yourself, what is white threatening to do here? There's a couple of threats that white is making. This one you really need to pause the video to look at it. And we're back. Okay, so white right now is threatening to play bishop takes h6, which, develops the bishop the best way you can develop it, by capturing a pawn or a piece, whatever. In this case, it's a pawn. So that's a tremendous move that's coming. Also, queen to g6 is another devastator. Because that knight can't really move to a special square. It could go to g5, but we just kick it. We would just kick his knight or take it off the board with bishop takes g5, either way. So he's got a couple of threats looming that he did not see. Probably, well, he could play rook f7. Because queen g6, he could play knight f8. And he kicks my queen out of there. And he's alive. Queen to g6 wouldn't be the right move. Rook f7, bishop takes h6 is the best move. But he can't stop both of those things. He could play, well, he could play knight g5. But I could just kick it. Take it off, kick it. Take it off, take the g-pawn, and win a pawn any way you cut it. So knight g5, bishop takes, pawn takes. Ooh, nasty. Not queen takes g5, but queen to h5. Yeah, so knight g5 loses. Knight g5, bishop takes g5, h takes g5, queen h5. I don't need to take your pawn, I'll just checkmate you. Actually, he can move his rook. He could stop mate. If it's mate, he could stop it with rook f5. If it's not mate, he could just go to rook to c8. So that dude is, but the problem he's going to run into is that mating combo I showed you earlier of bishop to h7 check, followed by, well, in this case I wouldn't do the bishop check because it doesn't force him to the corner, just go bishop to g6. And he's got major problems. So it's ugly. He missed it. He did not see what was coming. The queen move that looks solid, bishop to e8 would have been better. At least would have done something. Bishop takes h6. It's really ugly now. So that stops the mate. But now this is a hammer. The hammer is queen to g6, and there's nothing he could do. He's dead. So best he can do is move his knight. Because if he doesn't move, I just take it and he's checkmated. So that's the correct move. Pawn takes, of course. Queen checks. This is how you finish the guy off. You know, you roll bishop ahead, which is good. But this is how you finish him. He doesn't have anything. He's going to get all of his dudes crushed. And then he'll be left with a bare bones. A rook down. I'm increasing my advantage by just the slight maneuverings with check, forcing into bad squares, forced his rook to come down, and then exchanged everything off, and adios, you're dead. There's nothing he could do. He'll never stop that pawn. It's like, well, he took it, and, you know, he just like, I resign. So that was, you know, pretty hideous. It's one of those benign looking positions that there's actual threats there that he didn't see. So you always got to be looking at the game and go, what kind of threat is this guy trying to lay on me? Because this is why, if you don't do that, they'll jump up and bite you. He got bit. So hopefully that was instructive. I think it looked like it was a pretty instructive sequence of attack and defense. So hopefully that's all good. You guys know what to do. See you later.